Ilha de Queimada Grande, commonly referred to as Snake Island, is located off the coast of São Paulo, Brazil. This island is infamous for being one of the most dangerous places on Earth due to its population of the golden lancehead viper, one of the deadliest snakes in the world. The density of these snakes is astonishing, with estimates suggesting there could be about 1 to 5 snakes per square meter. The golden lancehead's venom is highly potent, capable of melting human flesh and causing death within hours if untreated. The Brazilian government has prohibited visitors from setting foot on the island, except for a few scientific teams equipped to handle the risks. These snakes evolved uniquely on the island to hunt birds, and their venom's fast-acting capability ensures that their prey doesn't escape. The isolation of the island has helped these vipers develop their venom to be more powerful than their mainland relatives, making Ilha de Queimada Grande a fascinating yet perilous place for any visitor. Miyake-jima is part of the Izu Islands, located about 180 kilometers southeast of Tokyo, Japan. The island poses a unique danger to its inhabitants and visitors because of its active volcano, Mount Oyama, which has erupted several times in recent history. Since its major eruption in 2000, the island has been prone to releasing harmful levels of sulfur dioxide gas, making it necessary for residents and visitors to carry gas masks at all times. Periodic increases in gas levels can trigger alarms that require everyone on the island to don their masks to avoid poisoning. Despite these dangers, the island is inhabited, with people living in a constant state of alert and readiness to evacuate. The community's resilience in the face of such a hostile environment makes Miyake-jima a remarkable example of human adaptation to extreme conditions. North Sentinel Island, located in the Bay of Bengal, is home to the Sentinelese tribe, one of the last uncontacted peoples in the world. The island is extremely dangerous to outsiders not only because of its geographic isolation, but also due to the hostility of the indigenous people towards any form of contact with the outside world. The Sentinelese have lived in isolation for thousands of years and violently reject any interaction with outsiders. Numerous attempts at contact have ended in tragedy, including the well-publicized death of an American missionary in 2018. The Indian government has since made it illegal to approach the island closer than 5 nautical miles in an effort to protect both the tribe's way of life and the safety of outsiders. This island represents a significant danger due to the potential for violent conflict, but also poses ethical questions about the rights of indigenous tribes to live without outside interference. Ramree Island in Myanmar is infamous for one of the most harrowing events of World War II. During the British retreat in 1945, Japanese soldiers were forced into the island's mangrove swamps, where many succumbed to the numerous saltwater crocodiles residing there. These events are recorded as the worst crocodile attacks in history. Aside from its historical peril, the island's dense mangrove swamps and its crocodile-infested waters continue to make it a dangerous place. The mangroves are nearly impenetrable and offer perfect camouflage for the aggressive crocodiles, making any navigation through them risky. The island's natural beauty contrasts sharply with the dangers lurking in its waters, reminding visitors of the deadly nature that can prevail in such a secluded environment. Bikini Atoll, located in the Central Pacific, is an idyllic paradise with a sinister legacy. From 1946 to 1958, the U.S. government conducted 23 nuclear tests on the atoll, including the infamous Castle Bravo, the largest nuclear bomb ever tested by the United States. This has left the region highly radioactive, with studies showing that levels of radiation in some areas of the atoll are still higher than safety standards. Despite this, the atoll has become a magnet for adventurous divers who explore the sunken fleet of warships that were targets during the nuclear tests. The surreal underwater world, featuring shipwrecks coupled with vibrant marine life, exists in stark contrast to the invisible threat of radiation that still haunts the atoll. The islands remain uninhabitable, and the legacy of its inhabitants, forcibly relocated prior to testing, adds a human tragedy to the island's hazardous conditions. Poveglia Island, located between Venice and Lido in the Venetian lagoon, Italy, carries a haunting history that makes it one of the most dangerous islands in terms of paranormal threats. Historically, it served as a quarantine station for the bubonic plague in the 18th century and later as an asylum for the mentally ill in the early 20th century. It is rumored that a doctor who tortured patients threw himself from the asylum's bell tower, driven to suicide by ghosts. The island is believed to be haunted by the tortured souls of those who died there, estimated to be in the thousands. Today, Poveglia is uninhabited, and travel to the island is strictly controlled. The atmosphere of the island is eerie, with the abandoned buildings and the silence punctuated only by the waves lapping against the shores, making it a chilling visit for anyone brave enough to step foot on its soil. Located 30 miles off the coast of San Francisco, the Farallon Islands are known for their rugged terrain and large population of great white sharks. These waters are one of the densest known great white shark habitats in the world due to the abundant seals that inhabit the islands. While the islands themselves are a vital research site for scientists studying seabirds and marine biology, they are dangerous for casual visitors due to the sheer cliffs, rocky shores, and the aforementioned shark population. Access to the islands is highly restricted, with permission required from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, emphasizing their perilous nature and ecological sensitivity. Sable Island, situated in the Atlantic Ocean near Nova Scotia, is often referred to as the graveyard of the Atlantic. It is notorious for its treacherous navigational conditions, which have led to over 350 recorded shipwrecks since the late 18th century. The island is shaped like a crescent and is constantly shifting due to strong North Atlantic currents. This, combined with thick fogs and fierce storms, makes it incredibly dangerous for ships even today. The island is also home to the world-famous Sable Island horses, wild and untamed, adding a touch of wild beauty to this hazardous locale. Sable Island is now a protected national park reserve, with limited access to protect its fragile environment and historical significance. Gruinard Island, located in the Scottish Highlands, gained its notoriety during World War II, when it was used as a testing site for biological warfare. In 1942, the British government conducted experiments with anthrax, contaminating the island so severely that it became uninhabitable. It was only in 1986, after decades of quarantine and an extensive decontamination effort that involved removing the topsoil and soaking the island in formaldehyde, that Gruinard was declared safe. Despite these efforts, the stigma of its past lingers, and the island remains largely deserted, a haunting reminder of the destructive potential of biological warfare. Once an administrative headquarters for the British penal settlement in the Andaman Islands, Ross Island is now deserted and overrun by wild vegetation, making it look more like a scene from a post-apocalyptic movie. The island hosts the ruins of colonial buildings overgrown by banyan trees, and it's often referred to as the Paris of the East. However, its beauty is overshadowed by its dark past of colonial oppression. The island is also known for its sandy beaches, which are breeding grounds for saltwater crocodiles, adding a physical threat to its eerie abandonment. Located in the Southern Ocean, Heard Island is a desolate, ice-covered mountainous island dominated by Mawson Peak, an active volcano. The island's harsh climate, with strong winds and freezing temperatures, makes it one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. Its remote location, combined with its extreme weather conditions and volcanic activity, makes it a perilous destination for anyone. The island is mostly visited by scientists for research purposes, studying its unique ecosystem and geological activity. Cape York in Greenland is known for its large population of polar bears, which poses a significant risk to any visitors. The island's harsh environmental conditions, coupled with the threat of encountering one of the world's largest predators, makes it a dangerous place. In addition to the polar bears, Cape York's extreme cold and remote location make any rescue operations difficult and risky. The island is primarily of interest to scientists studying climate change and Arctic wildlife. Often referred to as the Desolation Islands for their remote and harsh environment, the Kerguelen Islands are located in the southern Indian Ocean. The archipelago is characterized by its rugged landscape and frequent strong winds and storms. The islands have no permanent inhabitants, with only a small group of scientists residing temporarily to conduct research. The isolation and severe weather conditions make it a challenging location for human habitation, and a perilous sight for any unprepared visitor. Tristan da Cunha, located in the South Atlantic Ocean, is the most remote inhabited archipelago in the world, making it extremely isolated and difficult to reach. The island has a population of around 250 people who live in the only settlement, Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. The nearest mainland, South Africa, is over 2,400 kilometers away. The island's isolation poses significant risks in medical emergencies, as it is inaccessible by air and can only be reached by a week-long boat trip. Moreover, the island is susceptible to severe weather conditions, including storms and rough seas, which can cut off the inhabitants from the outside world for extended periods. Deception Island is one of the few places in the world where vessels can sail directly into the center of a restless volcano. Its horseshoe shape encloses a body of water known as Port Foster, created by the flooding of a volcanic caldera. The island is known for its geothermal activity, with beaches where the sand can be hot enough to cause burns. The risk of volcanic eruptions, combined with the harsh Antarctic environment, makes Deception Island a dangerous but fascinating destination for scientific research and adventurous tourists. Located south of Mexico City, the Isla de las Muñecas, Island of the Dolls, is famous for its unsettling appearance, covered with hundreds of hanging, decaying dolls. The island's caretaker, Julian Santana Barrera, collected and displayed the dolls to appease the spirit of a young girl who reportedly drowned in the island's canals. Over the decades, the dolls have deteriorated, giving the island a macabre and eerie atmosphere that can be quite disturbing. The story and the sight of the dolls attract curious visitors, but the island's isolated location in the Xochimilco canals makes it a haunting journey. The dense network of waterways can be confusing, and the island's somber backstory adds a psychological thrill to its physical dangers, making it a peculiarly disturbing destination for thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts. Also known as Miyake-jima, or Battleship Island, due to its silhouette resembling a warship, Hashima Island is an abandoned island lying about 15 kilometers from Nagasaki, Japan. Once a bustling coal mining facility housing thousands, it was abruptly abandoned in 1974 when the coal reserves were depleted. Today, it stands as a ghost town, with crumbling concrete buildings and deserted streets, preserved just as they were left decades ago. The danger on Hashima comes from the risk of collapsing structures and falling debris. The island's concrete seawalls, while impressive, have deteriorated over time, posing risks to visitors. Despite these hazards, the island attracts tourists and was even featured in a James Bond film, adding to its mystique as a symbol of industrial decline and historical intrigue. Located between Jamaica and Haiti, Navassa Island is a small, uninhabited U.S. territory that is largely overlooked due to its harsh environment and difficult accessibility. The island is surrounded by steep cliffs and sharp rocks, making landing by boat a hazardous endeavor. Its topography is equally forbidding, with rugged terrain covered in dense thicket that is difficult to traverse. Navassa Island also hosts a variety of wildlife, including some endangered species, which are protected by law. The isolation of the island, along with its ecological sensitivity, means that it is rarely visited, except by scientists and researchers with permission from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The combination of natural defenses and legal restrictions makes Navassa Island a perilous and rare destination for any would-be explorers. Monte Cristo Island, located in the Tyrrhenian Sea, part of Italy's Tuscan archipelago, is shrouded in mystery and strict preservation efforts. Famous as the setting for Alexandre Dumas's novel The Count of Monte Cristo, the island is now a protected nature reserve that restricts human activity to protect its pristine ecosystem. Access to Monte Cristo is severely limited to a small number of scientists and nature lovers each year, who must obtain special permits. The island's rugged landscape, combined with the presence of venomous vipers and the strict conservation laws, makes unauthorized visits not only dangerous, but also illegal. The allure of its literary association and the natural beauty of its untamed wilderness make Monte Cristo a tempting but challenging destination for adventurers. Surtsey emerged from the ocean in a dramatic volcanic eruption that lasted from 1963 to 1967, making it one of the youngest islands on Earth. Located off the southern coast of Iceland, it has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is strictly protected for scientific research. The island provides a unique opportunity to study the colonization process of new life in a pristine environment. Because of its scientific value, access is heavily restricted, making it illegal for tourists to set foot on the island. The ongoing volcanic activity also poses a significant risk, as the island is still considered geologically active. The combination of legal restrictions and natural hazards ensures that Surtsey remains isolated and untouched, serving as a natural laboratory for future generations of scientists. Socotra Island, often described as the most alien-looking place on Earth, is part of an archipelago in the Indian Ocean. Its isolation has resulted in a high degree of biodiversity, including several unique species of flora and fauna that are not found anywhere else on the planet. The island's most famous residents are its dragon's blood trees, with their umbrella-like appearance and red sap, which is used in medicine and dye. Despite its natural beauty, Socotra faces significant risks due to its geographic isolation and the political instability of Yemen. The harsh, arid environment makes living conditions challenging, and the limited access to healthcare and other services exacerbates the situation. Furthermore, the ongoing conflict in Yemen has made travel to and from the island increasingly hazardous, complicating conservation efforts and endangering its unique ecosystem. Bouvet Island is a small, uninhabited volcanic island in the South Atlantic Ocean, often considered the most remote island in the world. Owned by Norway, it is covered almost entirely by a glacier, with the terrain being harsh and inhospitable. The island is surrounded by ice-infested waters, making access extremely difficult and dangerous. There is no safe anchorage, and the weather conditions are notoriously poor, with frequent storms and low visibility. The combination of isolation, extreme weather, and lack of habitation makes Bouvet Island a perilous destination for anyone attempting to land there. The island's inaccessibility and pristine environment make it an important location for scientific study, particularly for researchers interested in climate change and glaciology. Malpelo Island, located in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Colombia, is known for its stark, barren rock faces and as a sanctuary for marine life, including a large population of sharks. The island itself is inhospitable, with sheer cliffs rising steeply from the sea, making access by land nearly impossible. The surrounding waters are teeming with hammerhead and silky sharks, making it a popular site for extreme diving expeditions. However, the strong currents and remote location pose significant risks to divers. The island is also a haven for rare and endangered bird species. Due to its ecological importance, Malpelo is protected as a marine park, and access is strictly regulated to preserve its fragile marine ecosystem. Jan Mayen is a remote volcanic island in the Arctic Ocean, administered by Norway. It is dominated by the Berenberg volcano, the northernmost active volcano on Earth, which last erupted in 1985. The island's harsh climate, combined with its active volcanic nature, makes it a particularly dangerous place to live. Jan Mayen is inhabited only by personnel working at a Norwegian weather station. The severe weather conditions, including heavy snow, high winds, and freezing temperatures, pose constant challenges to its residents and any visitors. The island's remote location makes it difficult to reach, and there are no permanent facilities for tourists, with access restricted primarily to scientists and military personnel. Clipperton Island, a tiny coral atoll in the Pacific Ocean, is a French overseas territory that is uninhabited and rarely visited. The island is surrounded by a treacherous reef and has no fresh water sources, making it unsuitable for human habitation. Its isolation and harsh living conditions have led to tragic historical episodes, including the story of the Clipperton castaways in the early 20th century, where a group of people stranded on the island faced dire circumstances. The atoll hosts a large seabird population and is an important breeding ground for various marine species. However, its remote location makes it difficult to manage and protect, leaving it vulnerable to illegal fishing and pollution. The combination of natural hazards and human impact continues to pose threats to Clipperton's fragile environment. Bear Island, part of the Svalbard archipelago, is situated halfway between North Cape and Svalbard in the Arctic Ocean. Known for its rugged terrain and harsh climate, it is mostly uninhabited except for a small meteorological station on the south coast. The island's name comes from the polar bears that are occasionally seen there, although it is primarily a breeding ground for seabirds. Access to Bear Island is notoriously difficult due to rough seas and poor weather conditions. The cold climate, coupled with isolation, makes survival challenging in this remote outpost. Bear Island's dramatic cliffs and strong ocean currents also pose significant hazards to visitors, making it a beautiful yet dangerous location for the adventurous. King Island is an abandoned island located in the Bering Sea, west of Alaska. It was once home to a thriving indigenous community known as the King Island Inupiat, who lived in stilt houses on the steep slopes of the island. The last residents left in the 1970s, leaving behind a ghost town of these unique structures clinging to the rocky cliffs. The island's extreme location, subject to violent storms and freezing temperatures, makes it a hazardous place to reach and explore. The crumbling remnants of the community, combined with the risk of falling into the frigid, treacherous waters, make King Island a perilous yet intriguing sight for those interested in Arctic history and abandoned places. Situated at the southern tip of South America, Navarino Island is one of the world's southernmost inhabited islands, featuring a landscape marked by rugged mountains and dense forests. It is famous for the Dientes de Navarino trek, considered one of the most challenging hiking routes due to its remote location and severe weather conditions. The island's climate is unpredictable, with strong winds, heavy rain, and snow making outdoor activities highly risky. Despite these challenges, Navarino Island attracts adventurers and nature lovers eager to experience its untouched beauty and the rich cultural heritage of the Yaghan people, one of the southernmost indigenous groups in the world. Located in the South Atlantic Ocean, Tristan da Cunha is known as the most remote inhabited archipelago in the world, over 2,000 kilometers from the nearest continent. The island is part of a volcanic group, with the active volcano Queen Mary's Peak last erupting in 1961 and forcing a temporary evacuation of the entire population. The community on Tristan da Cunha is small, with limited access to healthcare and other essential services. The island is accessible only by boat, a journey that can take days from the nearest port in South Africa. The isolation and the potential for volcanic activity make life on Tristan da Cunha a unique blend of beauty and danger. Tavalara Island off the northeast coast of Sardinia is striking for its massive limestone cliffs rising sharply from the Mediterranean Sea. Historically known as the smallest kingdom in the world due to a 19th century declaration by a local resident, it is now an Italian military zone with restricted access. The island's steep terrain, combined with its military presence, makes it a place shrouded in mystery and limited accessibility. Tavalara's surrounding waters are part of a marine protected area known for their biodiversity and offering a sanctuary for various marine species. Despite its beauty and ecological significance, the island's restrictions and rugged landscape add an element of danger to any unauthorized visit.